Good morning, everyone, dear friends, all data spaces enthusiasts, obviously all over the world. Good to see you back again to IDSA Summit 2021, our virtual version of our summit. Nevertheless, it was already a great success yesterday with several hundred of participants, great presentations, a lot of insights, a lot of really thorough, intensive, insightful discussions. And we had, really attendees from all 5 continents, which is really great. And I see that today already a lot of people from all over the world have dialed in. So, good morning to Hong Kong, to Tokyo, to Ireland, to Finland, and all the others. It's great to see you back again. And today we have a full day of data spaces. I personally felt that yesterday the day was so ram-packed, and it felt like a week of content, although it was only half a day. And today we have a full day. And let me a little bit introduce what you can expect today. So I started yesterday with the overview of what IDSA is doing. So we are working on a standard for data sovereignty and for data spaces. So what is the minimal viable definition of a data space? And we try to standardize this. So this is a lot about components and a bit of how everything interacts so that a data space can really be run. Therefore, we do have our reference architecture in place, version 3, and we are working towards version 4, which is to be released next year. And then in accordance, even more, although it is already discussed and reconciled with our liaison partners and our, the big projects out there. So like W3C, Gaia-X, FIWARE, and Platform Industry 4.0, for example. We will emphasize this and come up with a real new version 4 next year. And this is like a call to action. Please get engaged in IDSA and be part of it, so that we really have a reference architecture which can be the foundation for data spaces in the next years. We've learned a lot about the potential of data spaces, the economic impact, but also the beauty of coming up and realizing new business models which provide a certain competitive advantage in global scale. I really liked the presentation from Catena-X yesterday, stating that forming together a federated network of suppliers and OEMs is a value in itself, because this is a network which you can't copy. You may copy like a car or a CAD drawing, but this whole network can't be copied, and therefore this provides a certain security, trust, and resilience in global markets. So I like that a lot, and perhaps this is also a guideline for the creation of data spaces in other domains. We learned a lot yesterday from the energy domain, for example. We learned a lot about the cloud providers and how they will position themselves. And today we will focus on other issues. So next to this really, so to say, the Bible, the clear definition of data spaces with our reference architecture, we have the rule book which explains how data spaces will be and can be run. So more the governance perspective. We have the certification scheme, which states that components and the runtime environment where these components are run are really trustworthy. And then we have an open source endeavor to make everything happen, and a lot about adoption measures to really create the business impact we are all striving for. And that is exactly the agenda for today. So today you will witness a session on certification, so really a deep dive, well, how that works and how trust can be inserted into data sharing ecosystems. And we will have a dedicated session on the open source endeavors in the context of IDSA. So as mentioned yesterday, we have the minimal viable data space, which we are maintaining, but we have a lot of portfolio projects where IDS is implemented. So for example, FIWARE, but also Catena X, the data space connector. We will learn more about that. We will have a special focus today on startups and on those who bring IDS to ecosystems, to different industries. We call them implementation partners. We have a lot of them in place. They are from research and from the consulting branch. And you will learn what they are doing and offering later today. We will focus on more domains, which are to build data spaces. We will learn from the mobility sector in itself, then from the automotive sector and their supply chains, and even from the rail sector. So that is something which is new on our radar, and I'm really happy that we are, well, emphasizing our efforts in this rail domain, which is really interesting because, well, they really run networks. And well, data spaces are networks for data, right? So from Finland, we will have a great introduction about cross-industry use cases and data spaces, so really connecting industry. And we have a focus on smart cities. And then we close the day with a focus on research and what are the next topics in research and how can IDS be a catalyst for research projects. And we will also talk about content. Usage control is at the key of IDSA. So this is not only a technical issue, it is also a legal issue, and we will reflect this jointly in one session. So we have lawyers and IT experts on stage discussing about usage control. I'm really looking forward to that. And to get all of us started, we have great keynotes today, and that is what I would suggest we start. We will learn about design principles for data spaces with my, well, dear colleague and friend, Douwe Lycklama from InnoPay. Then we will learn about, well, the notion of and the importance of data ethics from André Nemat, board member of IDSA, and, well, a great forethinker in the context of data. We will reflect our liaison with FIWARE Foundation. Ulrich Ahle, also in our board, will present what we are doing together. And Gerard van der Hoeven will show how the initiative iSHARE and IDS fit together, and it's a perfect fit. Looking forward to that. So let's start with Douwe Lycklama, co-CEO, founder, partner of InnoPay. And well, Douwe, please join me on stage virtually and let us talk about design principles for data spaces. And it's great to see you.
Good morning.
Time virtual. And yeah, perhaps you may start, outline, well, what is at hand with design principles for data spaces and what we can and will do jointly together with that.
Yeah, let me first do a few clicks on getting my the right window shared indeed.
Nog niet.
Nog niet. Okay. Never mind. Let's now. Thank you for this opportunity this morning to be part of this session. It's about the principles of data sharing, and this is not a coincidence that this is the title of my contribution, because almost a year ago, which was about in September last year, Lars asked me to also become part of the Open Day consortium in order to describe the design principles for data sharing. And there I found the Open Day consortium, which is a large group of practitioners. I think many of the people in part of this session today are in that. It was more than 40 parties, and together we wrote a document which can be downloaded, Design Principles for Dataspaces.org. The link will follow, and that and there we created a comprehensive view on how to realize data spaces, and with all the thoughts and all the components in there. And so I can highly recommend this document, because at least I see that as one of the major outputs of the last years, in order to really converge in thinking, but also have a comprehensive overview on what data spaces are and how we can create them from a business perspective, but also, of course, a technical perspective, operational perspective, all these things, a kind of holistic story. So it deals with the different building blocks of data spaces. It also deals with the different sectors in data spaces. But it has also a chapter on governance. And last but not least, in the last chapter, we call for a moonshot. But I will explain that in a few moments. So there were four principles in these data spaces. And the first one is data sovereignty. You have heard a lot about data sovereignty in the past year, and certainly yesterday, and also you will hear about this today. It's the capacity of a natural person or a corporate entity for exclusive self-determination of its data, its economic goods. And it is really the core principle on top of which we think we are in this whole endeavor of creating a different digital economy where the users are really part of the data transactions. The other element is that it is about data level playing field. And we talk a lot about ecosystems. We talk a lot about federation. And it is this idea that everybody can be part of the ecosystem in a way that is non-discriminatory. It doesn't say there are no rules, but these rules are clear and open for everyone. It is just like there are rules to get a GSM subscription, but you can choose from different parties from who you want to have your subscription. But there is a kind of minimum layer of rules for which you can have this subscription. And that's also the same idea with data spaces, that there's a data level playing field. Then there is the idea of the decentralized soft infrastructure, which is basically the cookbook, the rule book of all the dimensions needed for creating a data space, which is not only technical, but certainly also legal and operational and functional and ethical. And so it's really a holistic view, but every party who participates implements it by itself in such a way that it becomes interoperable and also federated, and it has trust connected to it. And the last but not least is the governance, because all of this needs to first create it and then be governed in a proper way, in such a way that we can balance the public and the private aspects of this. And this governance primarily should be driven by the parties using it. And so really practitioners, so the businesses, and also often governments who are using this idea of decentralized data sharing and data spaces. So as a whole, these principles will be or are part of how we create in the end the whole what we call the soft infrastructure, which is the layer on top of which every data space can really plug into, because data spaces have a lot of commonalities among each other. The thing we need to watch out for is that we have all sorts of isolated information islands who are busy creating data spaces, but who have no interoperability and no cross-sector interoperability. Because if we're going to do that, we create new islands. And I think this whole idea of data spaces is to create less islands and to create really interoperability under control of users. So then the last step is, of course, the moonshot. And the moonshot, and that is what the document really calls for, is to take a period of at least 10 years. It will take 10 years at least to create a irreversible adoption of this idea of decentralized data economy. And that means that we first have to converge all the initiatives and all the thoughts into one sort of lingo, into one sort of governance. And I think the Open Day paper is a first very concrete step towards this direction. And it's also described by the BDVA as well. In the document, there is a schematic, picture 16, explaining the process, which is first about convergence, in which we create a diverse version of the soft infrastructure specification, and which is the whole holistic story, and then from that onwards we go into the deployment, and a big part of the deployment is creating the awareness and the adoption, and that will be the biggest effort in the long run, is to create awareness and to help businesses and governments implement this new way of decentralized data sharing with data sovereignty. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Douwe, for this short wrap up or review of the design principles paper without slides. That is always challenging. So you did a great job, and it was really important that you made the link also to what has happened yesterday. So for me, the general learning from yesterday was this topic of convergence, really bringing things together, agree on something which can be reused by all data spaces in all domains, so the commonalities which you've been talking about. And we learned, or we heard this comparison with GSM and other soft infrastructures like SEPA in the banking. And I think we have to insert in our lingo, in our wording, that we are really building something new for data, which is this soft infrastructure. And I think we cannot stress it enough that we should jointly work on this, rely on common design principles, and then in 1 year, we will see that really several data spaces are working according to this schema. And that would be really, really a goal and something which I would like to see. If you would have asked me last year where we were in 1 year, then I would have said, well, it would be great to see a first data space in place. And we do see the mobility data space, we see Catena-X, smart connected supplier network, and perhaps 2 or 3 other, so which are really of European scale. So obviously that came true, and next year, I hope that we see more, and then that we can really witness that there are common design principles. And we should be working on that jointly. Looking forward to this.
Great, and we're well on our way. Thanks.
Yeah, Douwe, we take leadership on this and make it happen, right?
Yeah, there's no way back.
Great. So thank you. Looking forward to drive this. And now I'm really happy to see André Nemat on screen. It's always good to see you. He's he is really he's like a data space. So with a data space, you can perform so many things and fulfill so many needs. It's so versatile. And André Nemat, he's a doctor, he's a researcher, he's even an engineer, and he's a forethinker for data economy. And that is why I'm so happy that he is in the board of IDSA. And I enjoy every talk with him. So I'm glad that you're here with us. Good morning, André. And out of this versatile scope of, well, his profession, we will today learn about data ethics, because that is, well, his true endeavor. And yeah, André, good morning, and the stage is yours. Inspire us.
Good morning, Lars. Good morning, Lars. Thank you for this very kind introduction, and thank you for having me here this morning. I hope that my screen is being shared. And,
all perfect.
Perfect. So yesterday we started our summit actually with a firework of content around IDSA and Gaia X. And today we also expect a packed day and highly interesting speakers. And therefore, I would like to give you just 2 messages to take away with you. And this ensures that you will hopefully remember these key messages at the end of the day, and that I will not overrun my speaking time. This year, it was a very special year actually for me as a doctor, but this year we had 2 important events. It was the WWDC in Cupertino, hosted by Apple, and well, this IDSA summit coming right from Dortmund. And a good 2 weeks ago, Apple shared with us the new software features that will arrive in iOS 15. And besides a lot of enhancement and improvements, there was a whole segment dedicated to the issue of privacy. Apple, as usual, is reading the sign of the times, and by presenting themselves as the tech company that not only preaches privacy, but also implements it in their products, they have strengthened their image as a safe navigator through the online world. And without a doubt, there is a rising demand for safety and privacy of digital products and services. Customers are concerned about apps that track their online habits, that read their locations or listen to their voice commands. And the processing of voice recording by voice assistants such as Alexa, Google Now, or Siri in particular has come under increasing criticism in the past. And therefore, it is no coincidence that Apple presented a new privacy feature for iOS 15 that addresses precisely that unsafe feeling of us, the users. And with the upcoming update, Siri is getting an on-device speech recognition that is powered by Apple's neural engine chip. In this way, no internet connection is required to perform tasks like controlling a smart home or opening apps by voice. And the most important part, the voice data never leaves the device. And while this example of a consumer goods driven company stepping forward, other sectors working with data still lag behind. Social media giant Facebook, who relies on tracking its users to sell advertising, continues to take a different approach here. When user tracking is a crucial part of the business model, it's no wonder that Facebook objected Apple's app tracking transparency. It prevents Facebook from using iOS user data. And Mark Zuckerberg, as you may have noticed, immediately complained about the slowdown of the massive data flow towards his own insatiable data platform and accused Apple to abuse their dominant position in the tech industry. Well, Tim Cook replied, "Too many are still asking the questions, how much can we get away with, when they need to be asking, what are the consequences?" And this prominent and current example from the consumer industry exposes a pattern which I would like to summarize as my first key message. And this is, in the next decade of digital transformation, every technology and every product will be replaced by a safer version of itself. And this helps us to understand what changes awaits us in the next 10 years, in the next decade. What does this development imply on a larger macroeconomic scale? Inevitably, it affects the entire data economy. Tomorrow's data economy is even more built on data-driven business models than it is today. It relies heavily on the collection, processing, and data sharing. And in order to scale, these processes need to be reliable, they need to be safe, and they need to be accident-free. Unfallfrei, how we Germans say. But how do we do that? Well, here is my answer. By focusing on the ethical values that we already share in Europe and that we stand for anyways. Values like autonomy, where everyone has the right to live according to their own ideas and set their own goals. People should make their own decisions, decide which data they want to share with whom, for how long, and to what equivalent. The value of transparency, which allows to understand where data goes and whether it is used for good or not, or, for example, the value of non-maleficence that guarantees that data technologies do not do any harm to those who are participating in the data economy. Together with the emerging regulations, such as the EU's Planned Data Act, but also the GDPR already in force, values map a future in which secure data spaces are created. And in these data spaces, the sovereign exchange of data will be possible, enabling a value-based data economy. And by doing so, data sovereignty is the translation of digital ethics into practice. Well, having said that, my second message would be, in the era of uprising data economy, every solution will be replaced by a sovereign version of itself. We in Europe are connected to another not only through technology alone, but through a common set of values. And the IDS as a de facto standard is the enabler for this. By creating data spaces where data sovereignty is guaranteed, it follows the steps that the consumer market has already been taken, but on a much larger scale. This applies the relationship between man and man, man and machine, and even machine and machine. And by building sovereign data spaces, the IDSA and our community actually succeeds in doing something truly remarkable. And this is, it manages to translate an ethical claim into a technological standard. That was the message. Thank you very much.
So great. So André, everyone here in the office is making notes and to prepare social media tweets, because these were really crisp and very important messages. Well, you know that we've been talking, well, very regularly of, well, how can we link data ethics with our very technological topic in IDSA? And I'm really thankful that you made this link, but you have been making this link also in the last month, and that is an important part of our value proposition, I would say. And thank you for that, and we're looking to drive this further. Thank you.
Thank you, Lars.
So the next speaker will be Ulrich Ahle, CEO of FIWARE Foundation. We are very close with FIWARE Foundation since years. We have a renewed joint memorandum of understanding, and well, IDSA and FIWARE, this is a perfect fit when it comes to making data spaces really happen. And therefore, I'm really happy to work together with Ulrich Ahle in his role as IDSA board member, but also in his role as CEO of FIWARE Foundation. And well, we can be really keen to listen to you, Ulrich. Good morning, and
morning.
The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lars, and good morning to all of you. And good afternoon, good evening, even in Australia. So hello to wherever you are. And I would like to share some thoughts with you how in this partnership FIWARE is accelerating data spaces via open source and also open standards. And as André explained before, our life in the future will gravitate more and more around data, around context information which are handled in a digital twin, describing what is going on, where, when, and why. And this is not only affecting different verticals and industries, it is also affecting ourselves. As you can see here on this slide, the doctor's check, so my personal schedule, my personal preferences will be handled more and more in the future by digital systems. And doing so, we are talking about the creation of a representation of the real world in the digital world. And this is what is called a digital twin, a digital representation of the real world. You can see on the left the real world described by context information. And this information are captured more and more. And we heard it before and also yesterday, also from Francesco from Gaia X. We are expecting more than 50 billion sensors around the world in the next years. Sensors capturing data, representing them in the digital twin, and then AI, big data analytics, other tools will be used to process, to analyze, and to monitor this digital twin data, updating the digital twin in the digital world, and also providing information back to the real world to allow us to do educated decisions, or where possible, where allowed, where accepted, also to actuate into the real world out of the digital twin. Autonomously driving is a very good example for this. But very often today, this data, this context information are organized in silos. Douwe has been talking about islands, similar picture, and we see silos in the different verticals, but also within these silos, there are very often thick walls because data models don't fit to each other, APIs are not open, policies, company preferences do not support the exchange, the provision of data. And this is something what the FIWARE Foundation is working on, not only providing open source software building blocks to create digital platforms and solutions, but also to provide standard APIs, standard data models to break down these silos. And we brought this into two new papers, two new position papers. You may find them on FIWARE.org. One is FIWARE for Data Spaces, the other one FIWARE for Digital Twins, which were published 2 weeks ago. And we are very much reflecting here and contributing to a big European program, which is called Connecting Europe Facility. And here, the core software component of FIWARE, the context broker, is one of these so-called SAF building blocks, in addition to EID, for example, or the European blockchain services infrastructure. And all of this is described in the paper Douwe mentioned before, where also the FIWARE Foundation has been contributing a lot, the design principles for data spaces. And the main picture within this document is shown here on the right. We have the already mentioned soft infrastructure and neutral building blocks. And this is existing only one time, because to enable the interoperability of different data spaces, it is important to use as much as possible common APIs, common interfaces. It can be implemented in different ways, but this need to be the connecting points between the different data spaces which are built using this software infrastructure building blocks. So there will be different data spaces. You can see here NX, and they have to collaborate and interoperate to create the real data ecosystem, which is then on top. So there will be different data spaces as ecosystems. Very important, and that's the basis, that's the foundation to create data spaces are this software infrastructure building blocks. And I have them here on the next page, a bit more detailed. They are building blocks for data interoperability, for data sovereignty and trust, for data value creation, and also for some governance topics. And Lars mentioned this memorandum of understanding we signed, and we have a clear positioning where the strengths of IDSA, where the strengths of FIWARE to contribute to the creation of data spaces. And I incorporated also our next speaker, Gerard from iSHARE, into this positioning. And you can see here on this pages, on this page, where are the different foci of the three organizations joining forces to create data spaces. And here a picture from the signature of the Memorandum of Understanding on June 8th. That was the great Digital FIWARE event. And one of the targets is a close cooperation in the creation of data spaces based on Gaia-X. And my last slide, we are providing within a big program and project which is called I4Trust. This is funded by the European Commission, and the project has in total a budget of 3.2 million euro to provide equity-free funding to small and medium-sized companies and to existing digital innovation hubs in creating data spaces using these building blocks I explained before. And we will fund 32 so-called bottom-up experiments in 2 waves. The first wave is open now. Applications can be done until September 6th. And always at least one SME and one digital innovation hub have to collaborate here. And per project, we are providing a funding between 70 and 120,000 euro, equity-free. So this is a big opportunity to involve more and more small and medium-sized companies into the creation of data spaces using this before described building blocks. And that was my part. And Lars, let me close, and I will stop sharing here. Let me close with a statement. Yesterday was very much around the team data spaces. And we also discussed it before. We originally brought in the concept of the Frontrunner Data Spaces Initiative. And I would like to propose here to combine maybe these wordings and to enhance it to the Frontrunner team data spaces. Frontrunner because there is a lot of existing building blocks, as we saw, and a lot of architecture elements are already described, and it is important to bring data spaces to reality. And this will be a major task for this initiative, for this team, to use already existing elements and to create data spaces, to create value for the citizens, to create value for the companies.
Yeah, Ulrich, so let's do this. So we are both part of team data spaces, and now we have to bring it to life, and we need exactly these great ideas and concrete things to start now. So let's do it, and thank you to also bringing on stage here, so that everyone is aware of it. And well, from tomorrow onwards, you'll receive emails, and let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ulrich. Great progress and clear call to action with I4Trust.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. And now I'm really happy to introduce our next very important and a great liaison partner. It's the iSHARE Foundation. And today with us is the Managing Director, Gerard van der Hoeven from Rotterdam. And so data spaces, the core thing to be done is to bring trust to data spaces. And we know that there are different demands concerning trust because we have so many different data sets, so many application scenarios. So companies and ecosystems are free to choose, do it like that or do it differently. But probably there's also a staggered approach. So you can start like this and then you can add more trust to it. And we need this continuum and show how it really can be used and according to the concrete scenario. And that is what we found out in the combination of iSHARE and IDSA, that this is a perfect fit. And Gerard, I'm more than happy to welcome you to stage, and the stage is yours. Ignite us.
Thanks a lot, Lars. And it's really great to be here, great to be part of the summit, and thanks for the opportunity to share. And also great to be part of the Frontrunners team on data spaces and the broader team. And in line with what Ulrich just mentioned, let's really get data spaces to life, because there's such a major impact to economies, to our local and international European economy. So indeed, that's what iSHARE is originally built for. So I wanted to take you through a few steps and introduction on what iSHARE is and where iSHARE fits into IDS as an architecture, because I can imagine for some of you it's new and haven't seen it before. So one of the barriers we've seen in data sharing, and the key point that Lars just mentioned, is the trust area. So who to trust in data sharing in a federated way without platforms and without new parties that take a major role, and how to safeguard data sovereignty, and how to govern those data spaces legally and operationally. So that's where iSHARE originally started back in 2016 in the Netherlands. And basically today is the implemented and operational, well, we call it fundament connector for IDS, where you register and have an overview of the trusted parties and organizations that you can work with in the data space. And with that, iSHARE is a horizontal standard in line with IDS architecture and the European legal framework to really safeguard that data sovereignty. So soft infrastructure in the purest form. And it's available today. So it's implemented. We have existing users and a lot of existing data that's already available to build on in sharing and building new applications. So I wanted to take you through one slide with a few of the roles and to get you the update on what iSHARE actually is. So in line with IDS, it's working with data players, consumers, data nodes, and data owners, using identity providers, using authorizations, and storing all of that together and working with that in a federated way. But the key part, which is crucial, is that, well, participant information. Who is part of the trusted network, and who are the ones to work with in a trusted way? So the Paris implementation is what we call in iSHARE the satellite, which is now available to actually use. So with that, you can have a single contract with everybody in the data space, no bilateral structures, and a clear governance and monitoring of that data sovereignty and the way to work together. So super excited to bring that also into the IDS community, because we're not starting from scratch. We're not starting from an idea. We expect to have the data of over 100,000 companies available on the different connectors within the iSHARE network, which is just a great foundation to build on top of. And within that Paris, within the satellite, it's a joint network. So everybody that's joining into the network can build on top of this and start using that data that's already available. So excited to get that going. and bring that out of the Netherlands and also into other sectors. And excited to be part of this event today. But I wanted to show Lars where we started our collaboration back in 2019, where we agreed that we wanted to work together on creating that trust across those data spaces in a harmonized way by bringing the powers of our two great standards together. And that's what we've been working on over the last year, really matching up IDS and the architecture of iSHARE. Looking at it, we're totally aligned in terms of roles and how we work, and with that, a great foundation and something that the IDS hubs and all the parties involved would recognize immediately, and then implement it because it's there and it's ready for everyone to use. And then, in line with where Douwe started and also what Ulrich mentioned earlier, in line with those building blocks of the soft infrastructure to really kickstart data spaces, because that's what I'm fighting for, in not doing a lot of research again, but utilize what's there, because there's so much there already, and there's so much opportunity to start building those data spaces and start building those real applications based on the components that are there within FIWARE, within iSHARE, where usually iSHARE brings that data sovereignty and trust components and the main aspects of data governance, which is data space governance, which is just available today. And then I'm repeating Ulrich's message, but it's always good to do that again. So we're really driving that adoption by starting the iForTrust program. So really would invite everyone to check out the program iForTrust.org, where you can really start building data spaces with those ready components in line with IDS architecture to really get it to life. In the coming 2 years, let's really build a lot of data spaces together. So on that note, I look forward to really work with the IDS ecosystem in a broader sense and really bringing all that potential of data spaces to life in the coming years and years to come. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Lars.
Thanks so much, Gerard. This is it's so good that you have presented our joint endeavor and vision here on our summit, so that our ecosystem gets more and more familiar with iSHARE and our joint plans. Looking forward to drive this. And reflecting what I answered to Douwe in the beginning, so in 1 year, I want to see some more data spaces in real life. I should perhaps say, as you stated, a lot of data spaces. Let's work towards this. So looking forward to this. We are so close, and great. Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot, Lars. I really look forward.
Great. So this is really a lot of plans for the future to realize. And when it comes to adoption, to realization of data spaces and to proliferation of IDS concepts into business, into countries, into regions, and into special ecosystems, we need really committed partners and knowledgeable partners which can do so. And that is what we are striving for with our concept of competence centers. You know that we have the IDSA hubs, so this is reflecting the representation of IDS in a country, so with this national flavor. But we have some very large countries in Europe and all over the world, so it's not only one hub which can perform all these duties. So we need several to support, and this will be performed by the competence centers. And Therefore, I'm really happy to invite to stage our dear friends from our competence centers. It is an endeavor which we've started last year. So I'm really happy to welcome to stage Alexandra Garatzogianni from Leibniz University in Hanover, Germany. Leibniz University is a competence center since some time already, and there's track record. And today I'm to create or kickstart 2 new competence centers in Spain and in Greece. But first, let's listen to Alexandra, to what you are, what you have been done. What is your experience? You have been bringing IDS to some lighthouse projects. You are a multiplier in BDVA, and well, you are one of the greatest social media multipliers which we do have. So Alex, it's really great to have you in our ecosystem. And well, good morning, and let us know about your experiences, please.
Good morning, Lars. Very nice to be here among the IDSA community, and wonderful keynotes today. I really highly resonate with everything being said. So I'm very happy to be here to represent the Leibniz University of Hanover and DEEP, the Leibniz Information Center for Science and Technology. We are a proud IDSA member, and moreover, we are an IDSA competence center. Within this framework, we are also collaborating with many other actors in the European digital economy, for example, BDVA. And despite becoming an IDSA competence center shortly before the corona outbreak, we managed to create an ecosystem of IDSA-related projects that I will briefly present today. So in terms of finance and the telecom sectors, we have our project Trusts, in which we aim to develop a European data marketplace for personal and industrial data. In that project, we explore more the intersection between the legal framework and the data spaces. Actually, our technical leader will be delivering a presentation later today, which I highly recommend that you attend to gain more insights into our Trusts project. As an example, here are some data sharing initiatives that are currently in the market. In Trusts, we explore and we further build on IDSA and on the insights gained by the Data Market Austria project that develop a local innovation ecosystem. And you can see here the various actors that interact within the framework of a data market. Moving on to the energy sector, we are working with the Platoon project, which brings digitalization in the energy sector and was presented yesterday in detail. I would really like to invite you to apply for our open call. We launched our first open call, which was very successful, and our second one will be coming up before the end of this year. Besides our equity-free funding that we are offering, there are many benefits for the selected proposals. And actually, in Platoon, we develop and implement the IDSA framework, and our open calls are IDSA related in order to further enhance IDS adoption across Europe. Moving on to the media and arts sector, we have our Digital Innovation Hub, Media Futures, which is part also of the STARTS ecosystem in Europe. In Media Futures, we are supporting SMEs, startups, and artists to tackle the current media challenges. Hashtags, deepfakes, fake news, synthetic media. So we are delivering support, and we want to further establish quality journalism, grassroots movements, and also digital democracy. Besides equity-free funding, we are offering many other elements of support in Trust. We have our in Media Futures, we have our customized acceleration program that also expands into data and computational resources, as well as technical, legal, and advisory support. In Media Futures, we have 3 tracks where we invite SMEs, startups, and artists to apply. And the successful applicants will receive a 6-month acceleration program that is detailed here and encompasses various stages. Our first open call was very successful, and a kind note that our second open call will be launched in autumn this year, and then there will be 1/3 and last open call for next year. In terms of the manufacturing sector, we have also implemented...
Alex, so we have a tight schedule.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Perhaps a final message.
Yes, we have also worked with IDSA in the manufacturing sector, and we work with innovation hubs where we implement IDSA to deliver services in digital security. So we have discovered that IDSA is a great avenue for innovation and for cross-pollination among various sectors. It has been a great experience to work together with the IDSA team and community towards our common goal of data sovereignty. And it has added a great value in our data sharing activities. Thank you so much, Lars. Back to you.
Alex, thank you so much. So it's good to see that you have so many activities in place and you are really proliferating IDS. So that is exactly what a competence center should do. So thank you so much for your commitment and for your work. And well, let's continue that. It's so important. Thank you very much. And well, this should be an inspiration for other knowledgeable institutions, organizations in our ecosystem to also apply to become a competence center of IDSA. And please just get in touch with us. And two other organizations have done so, and therefore I'm more than happy today to announce two new competence center. You do see Alberto Berreteaga, sorry always for pronunciation, from Tecnalia, from Spain. He's a strong contributor to IDSA, and he's really committed for a long time already. And we are so close with Tecnalia. So therefore, I'm more than happy that we now can formally manifest this, and that I can formally hand over the certificate of cooperation between IDSA and Tecnalia. So welcome and congratulations, Alberto. So we have signed this in advance, and I'm really looking forward to our collaboration. And well, you are so close with us. You are involved in the Basque Energy Cluster in a lot of Horizon projects. Yeah. So what are your plans for the next phase?
Yeah, thank you so much, Lars. Let me please share just one slide about Tecnalia and its actions. I hope you already can see this. And well, just a few words about Tecnalia. We are a non-for-profit private research center here in Spain. 1,400 people, mainly in Spain, but we have offices in France, Latin America. And well, as Competence Center, we have we are planning three events. The first two ones will be in September 23rd. Perhaps the first one you will know, San Sebastián, the Cinemaldi Film Festival. They have technological parallel tracks, and we hope that we will be there in September as IDSA Competence Center, chatting and speaking about data spaces and IDS. And same day, 23rd September, in the Platoon event in Bilbao again, perhaps we will be able to participate as Competence Center too, so that will be great. And the last one under our schedule will be the Be Digital event this October in the Bilbao Exhibition Center. This is a huge event, industrial event, and we will hope that we will be there as Competence Center, but this time with final users, IDS users from the different projects, from the Basque Energy Cluster, that is a huge organization here in the Basque Country, where we have information providers, information consumers, we will have all the industrial change there. And we are eager to collaborate with the cluster there in that huge event. And there, as you can read, as IDS implementation partner, we have experience about connectors, brokers, usage control, the greenhouse, and different IDS elements. We are deeply involved in this energy data space use case you showed yesterday in the energy slot presentation. And we are working a lot with the Basque Energy Cluster. And that's great because there we have all the users we need, information providers, information consumer. And this is the closest thing we have to the market so far. So it's very important. But again, in the manufacturing, in the industrial use case scenario. Yesterday too, you showed the industrial manufacturing use case by Luis Torre that is inside the market.0 project. That is a great use case too. And finally, you can read here a few main projects where we are working around IDS. You can read here about European projects, Spanish projects, Basque projects. We are deeply involved and with IDS, with data spaces, even with Gaia X initiatives. And we are quite happy to be IDS Competence Center. We are presently a couple of months ago, and we are really proud to be here with you.
That's really great. Looking forward to that, and it's an impressive overview, Alberto. And you and your colleagues have been on stage yesterday and will be on stage for several of these endeavors today. So for those who are interested, Tecnalia will be with us several times today. Yeah. We will learn more. So looking forward to this collaboration. This is a true competence center. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Then I would hand over to Greece. So Kosmas, please join me on stage. We only have like 2 minutes. But we must talk about what you are doing. The laboratory for manufacturing systems and automation of the University of Patras in Greece, and I'm really happy that Kosmas Alexopoulos is with us. He's with IDSA for years already, and I'm happy now to officially hand over the certificate and welcome in the group of competence centers, LMS, the abbreviation. Great to have you, and please, a very short overview of your plans, Kosmas.
Hi, Lars. Thanks a lot for the introduction and the congratulations for the great event. We're really very happy to be part of the IDS community. I will go very quickly through my presentation. A laboratory for manufacturing system, LMS, we are in the University of Patras in Greece, and we have a strong commitment and focus in the manufacturing domain, in the manufacturing industry. We're working for many years, more than 25 or 30 years in the field, together with industrial companies around Europe, and we know very well their needs in terms of automation, digitalization, and of course, and certainly data sharing. We were very happy to be on board of the IDS as a partner from the early phases of the IDS community. And we were also very happy and very lucky to be part and participate in several projects that have IDS in the core. For example, we are a core partner in the Market 4.0 Horizon 2020 project that has adopted IDS technology as a key technology for enabling a marketplace for manufacturing. And in there, our lab has a key role on integrating IDS technology in several manufacturing related use cases. And from that, we have acquired the experience needed to support mainly industrial partners, how to integrate and share data through IDS. Another example is the Nagel project that focuses on anti-manufacturing, and again there, IDS technology is being used, and LMS is assisting partners on how to utilize the technology and take the benefits out of it. And above that and beyond that, LMS is also working in general in developing platforms and IoT technology and the digital technologies for manufacturing. And our objective through the IDSA Competence Center is to utilize the best of the breed with the best of our capacities and capabilities together with the IDS technology and offer those services to manufacturing companies and technology providers, especially in Greece. So that's all, Lars. I hope I saved you some time.
Yeah. So Kosmas, thanks so much, and thank you for your mission statement. I think we all read through it. That is great. we will, well, highlight you in our ecosystem and promote you. So that is the beauty with our competence centers. You please bring IDS to Greece, and let's, well, create ecosystems and data spaces there. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Kosmas, for your commitment in the past and in the future. It's always a pleasure to see you and first of all, working together with you. So that's great. Thank you.
It's also my pleasure.
Well, all of you, we have 2 new competence centers now. That is really great, and it helps us, well, building data spaces, as we've been talking about the whole time in the IDSA Summit. We are building the future of, well, data economy jointly. Looking forward to that. Great. Thank you, Alberto, Alexandra, and Kosmas. That is really great.